This is Mordant McFall, and welcome to the other side of live. Welcome everybody to the number one late night, bigger, better, more motivational show, otherwise known as the other side of live. Tonight's working title is, of course, Bigger, Better, More in Your Everyday Life. And we are alive and well in Gastonia, North Carolina, and deep in the Bear's Den in Monticello, Georgia. And I think I hear the rumblings of that hibernating man waking up. Ladies and gentlemen, the dark side of positive, Charles McFall.
It has been a long time since I was able to live the life where I woke up at 9 p.m.
You know, my introductions of you gets longer and longer and longer and longer.
As they should. What's wrong with that?
As you get more medals and accolades and you get more rewards and awards in life. So, yeah, we got to give you other names, too. I call you other names later.
Well, I give myself a new name every night on this show, don't I? I end the show with what kind of bear I am. We're in the Bear's Den, and, you know, I don't know until the end of the show. Am I a grizzly bear? Did I get angry tonight? Am I a poignant bear? So, you know, at the end of the show, you find out. This is the whatever bear signing off. So stay tuned. You'll figure it out.
That's what that was all about. I'm so excited to find
out.
I'd
love to see people on BC and Tosol start naming it. Go, oh, I heard you, and you were wrong. This is the kind of bear you were tonight. And that'd be a fun game to play on Facebook.com/BC and Tosol. You know what else is there on that page, sir?
What else is there?
I gave you a gift today.
You did? I did not see it.
I did indeed. There's a pretty little picture of your face. How'd you not see it, you narcissist? Never mind. That's actually it's not you. It's the same logo as we have in the corner, but it fits because it's you holding out the microphone and me laughing, right?
Yeah.
And underneath that picture in our little apps on Facebook on the top line, it says live, broadcast, and chat.
Wow, I'm going to have to check that out.
So you can listen live now.
I don't have to listen live.
Facebook.com/BC and Tosol. Chat room is there. The live stream is there. There will be a little yellow bar that pops up. It's a Facebook thing. Do you want to load? We're not sure this should load. Say yes, load, because that's the only way you're going to hear the show. If you say no, you can still chat, but you will not hear us.
Yes. So go over there to the Tosol Facebook page and click on that thingy thing, and it will make Charles very, very happy. So,
yes.
And if you want to talk to us tonight, the phone number has changed, ladies and gentlemen. If you have been missing the last two episodes, we have a new phone number that is no agenda stream wide. So write this down, 218-632-1724. And when you get in there, 33 pound. But it will instruct you to do that.
That is correcto, Mundo.
So last week, the Tosol episode number 49, the consistency conundrum.
Woot, you said it.
I know. I remember. Actually, it's written here in front of me. I was actually able to pronounce it well this time. But I couldn't even remember it. I was the considerate. No, but canasta? What? But last week we talked about how in the midst of setting our goals and move forward with our life and chasing and catching our dreams, how it's difficult to just keep on that path. You know, we had our good friend Nolan, who wrote in and asked us about it. He was like, you know, I can do affirmations till I'm blue in the face. I can do all these things, but as far as keeping on that path, I have a hard time sticking with it. So could you do a show about that, or at least direct me towards a show? And although we had touched on it throughout a bunch of different shows, we'd never done a show on consistency. So it was a good episode. And I think you and I agreed for the most part, but there was some lack of consistency. There was some conundrum in our consistency.
There was a mess for us to clean up, perhaps, mainly. I
don't know. We got through it. So this week, you actually came up with this idea, and you wanted to talk about, you know, not just chasing and catching our dreams, but go on. Do you have something? Go for it.
No, I just like interrupting you. It's fun.
All right, excellent.
Well, you know, I did, because I honestly identify with the everyday man. While I am, on the flip side, it's both sides of the coin, is I still work for a living. I still have not felt like I've caught my dreams. I still do the things I do for free. It's getting there. Or we might talk about one big thing we've got coming up here, exciting. But I identify with the everyday man, and I know one of the complaints that has come back from multiple listeners is sometimes you lose us with bigger, better, better, more. Because when you guys go into that, you start talking about, man, coaching people and speaking on big stages, and you're doing this for a living. And I'm sitting at home going, yeah, I just want a happier life. I don't identify with that.
Right.
So I've been coming to you a lot about, man, we've got to get to the everyday man. We've got to reach me, because you reached me and you fired me up. And I want to share that. So I came up with, we're talking about grace and patience and living a better life. And I said, one of the suggestions I made, which you actually kept as the title, was a bigger, better, 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 more for your everyday life.
Yeah.
So I've got stories prepared about my marriage and my kids. That these aren't going to be stories of how we went out and conquered and now the Tortugas ruled the world. It's going to be our real everyday stories that you will be able to hopefully connect with.
Right. As we're moving forward in our seeking this success that we're, our bigger, better, better, more that we drop down on everybody every week, about speaking in front of large audiences and sharing our message with the world and all that stuff. There's that day-to-day thing. And that's what got me when you started talking about this, the bigger, better, better, more in our everyday life. I mean, today I was sitting in front of the gym, and I was thinking about going in, and I got on a phone call with somebody, then I got on a phone call with you, and I'm back and forth in my head and all this. And, for me, it was just a struggle for just that. And I finally got myself to go in, and that was my victory for the day. That was one of them. So we're going to talk a little bit tonight about, seize your victory for the day. Find your victory for the day.
With my medical background, for a second, I thought you said seizure. Like, why would you want our listeners to thrash around for their victory? I don't understand.
But I want to talk about another kind of victory. First of all, this is our 50th show for The Other Side of Live. There's fanfare and sparkles and confetti and stuff.
We're talking about bigger, better, better, more. Yeah. I'm going to be excited when we hit 500. What's the deal with 50, man?
Oh, dude, you gotta take you know what? It means something to me. It is a milestone. This is my, I'm not going to say it's my first podcast, but it is the one the farthest reaching. So 50 is like, I'm excited about 50. You're right. Number 500 is going to be something to celebrate. But then again, by that time, we may be going, the microphone again. Can I do something else now? But right now, I'm very excited about it. And I'm so happy that, we hooked up and we're able to share with the world everything that we're doing. And also share our process. It's not all about look how good we are, look how successful we are and everything. I mean, there's a little bit of that, but it's also sharing, our stumbles. It's also sharing, those hurdles that we have to get over. It's also sharing the fact that we have to seize our daily victory, because sometimes that's all you got. Sometimes it's just like, I don't want to do everything else, but okay, I'll just do this one thing. Oh, I did that. Okay, good. Let's keep moving forward then.
Everybody
Were you taking a drink right then?
No, I was thinking of a certain phrasing, and then at the last second, I shifted gears hard without the clutch, and it went. So, take your wins when you get them, and no pooping on his party, Big C. I was going to address that. Everybody knows holiday hating bear usually poops on your parade.
Who said that?
That answer means something to me. It means something to you because you take your victories where you can get them. That means something, not just, it's a holiday, I'm happy. It's, no, this, I hit it, and I'm not going, look at me, I made 50. It's, hey, we made a milestone. We took a step. We moved forward. That's awesome. You know what? I have a milestone that has a number 50 in it.
Yeah, what's that?
Is ever since college, I have been over 350 pounds. And as of this weekend, I hit 349.
Really?
Yep.
Na 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 na. We need to have fanfare music.
We do. We need. You know what? I'll look into my I've got some stuff. I'll have to do some research. I've got a whole file of sound effects and music. We'll find something.
Congratulations. How does it and how does that make you feel?
It makes you feel 20 pounds less. That's what it makes me feel. But I shared it on Chaos and Coffee this morning, and I'm happy I shared it on Facebook this weekend, and different people were asking me about how I did it. And literally I sit here at my desk and I eat until I don't want to eat, and I just log it into my system. And there's two of them. I won't go into details. You've heard me talk about loseit.com. Another one I'm trying out this week is myfitnesspal.com. And it doesn't matter what you use. It's all about the budget. It's just once you see what you're eating, you change your habits. And that's all I've done. And it's very cool because I could not literally, I'm guessing that it was after I got back from college, my freshman year, because at college I walked everywhere and lost some weight.
Right.
I'm guessing that I was around 350 or under if it was the last time in my life. And that was when I was 19 years old. I'm now 34. So you do the math because I don't want to.
Well, I'm taking a page from The Compound Effect, the book we were talking about last week, in which you do one thing, and it doesn't seem like it's doing much right there, but it has far-reaching effects, and that later on it's a big deal. In that for lunch now, I've taken to eating salads. Well, people who know me, is I'm a meat eater. Juicy, bloody, drippy, fatty meat. Give me meat. But now my salad has chicken in it. I mean, let's not get crazy here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a vegetarian meal. A little bit of meat won't fix. That's all I'm saying.
How much butter did you throw on top of the chicken?
I didn't, but I did ask for extra salad dressing. So it was extra fat-free. No, a couple places I've been trying out their salads, and I'm like, hey, they're not so bad. So now, there you go.
To me, talking about the compound effect, to me, it seems like you're being uber focused, that you're going to get tired of salads, you're going to run out of choices, you're not going to do it. Wouldn't it be better to find something equivalent, the same maybe calories, the same fat intake, whatever? That way you change it up. That way you're changing your path and not so much your actions.
I see what you mean. And quite probably, yes, I'll vary in that and look for other things that I could. And I'm not killing myself. I mean, there was one of the days at lunch I was like, oh, there's nothing around. Okay, I'm just gonna have a burger. But it's introducing me to something that's not part of my diet, and I'm discovering that I actually do like it. To the point where my buddy is looking at me going, are you all right, dude? What's with the salads? And I'm like, it's good. I know, right? It's good. So it's something I'm trying, and they're everywhere, and what's going to hurt? I'm a little more regular now.
I didn't even know. I do love salad, man. My son loves salad. So that's a good trait that I've passed down.
Pansy.
Wait a minute.
No, it is good as long because it's not just the lettuce. You mix everything else up in there too, and there's different kinds of salad. So, there's the Southwest salad. There's the I don't know, raspberry Asian salad. I'm like, all right, as long as they all got some form of meat in it, I'm good. Maybe I'll have a vegetarian salad one day, but baby steps. All right.
So tonight, bigger, better, better, more for your everyday life. Right?
Yeah.
You still got stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, do it. All right. Yeah, what do you got?
Well, I've recently learned the difference between grace versus patience.
Okay.
And the best example I can give is of my kids. Mentally, when I discipline my kids when something goes on, I want to really connect with them. I want them to understand their actions. I want them to understand there's consequences and why there are consequences. And it doesn't matter that you're sorry, things still happen because your actions have effects. However, patience runs out, okay? Patience is, don't do that again. Why am I telling you again? And eventually I explode. Grace, however, is being calm, being unemotional, going, what did you do? And you have them walk through it. And it's a milestone. It's a small achievement for me. It's a small victory for me. Every time I can not explode, every time I can not be angry, I'm a bigger, better dad, in my opinion.
How do you find that your kids are reacting to that?
Well, it hadn't happened that often, so I don't know that.
Well, they all kind of freaked out. What did you do to our dad? Where's our dad? pod
helped,
person.
like, hey, when my wife was mad, then I didn't have to be. I came down to the middle of her chewing them out, and it worked okay because I got my daughter to answer a question because her reasoning was, well, there's no more shampoo in the shower, so I'm going to use this conditioner, which she's been told not to use. But hopefully, we'll have to see, I hopefully got her to realize it doesn't matter what else is in the shower. Your shampoo wasn't there. What do you do? Because her biggest problem is not using her words. And so I sat there and made her call out to me that she needed shampoo, which for some reason upsets her. I don't know why, but maybe it'll get through to her as opposed to get against the wall and I'll beat you or screaming at the top of my lungs and sending her to the room. Because that doesn't faze her. I could scream at her all day long and it won't matter. But, it worked better for me. I felt better. I didn't feel like an ass.
Right. And you feel like you're shaping your children as opposed to, destroying and building up.
Right. That's a good way to put it.
Helping them get to helping guide them to a decision or to an epiphany, as opposed to you need to get this because you're dumb. It's more like, well, how come this doesn't work? Do you see it? And then you see that revelation dawn in their eyes, and they're like, oh. And then they go by, they go turn right around and do it again. But whatever.
Right. Well, for me, the revelation was, because I grew up in the church. I was always, His grace is abiding, and grace, and never, ever had the first inkling of what grace was. But then as a parent, when you first have your first kid or anything you do, but parents really do it. It's like, oh, you have to have patience. Well, patience runs out. Patience runs out. And I try to be patient with my wife when she's tired. And there's sometimes when I'm tired. And patience doesn't cut it because you'll yell at each other. But I've learned that grace, I can't really define it, but I'm just telling you, grace is that piece going, I don't need to be mad. It's not about mad. It's their actions. My wife is tired and ill. So when she snaps off at me, I don't need to be angry because I know she's tired and ill.
Right. And that bigger, badder, better, more, in this case, is definitely you. It's definitely you're becoming a better person. You're becoming a better father. You're becoming more, like you said, patient. But that grace is affecting you as well. And I think that is a daily, daily success. One of the things on my notes here is I have everyday heroics. Ain't going to be something small. For me, it was getting to the gym. Even though there's part of me that's just like, oh, I don't want to do this, and working on different things. I just kind of wanted to goof off all day, and most of the day I did.
You sat in your car talking to me, and you used these words. I'm outing him. Here comes the bus. Whoop, whoop. Watch out.
Yeah. Go ahead. Throw me down.
I'm trying to talk myself out of going in. I'm like, well, you're on the right phone call. You need to bleepity bleep, get your bleep out of that car and go to the bleep inside.
And you know what? 15 minutes into it, I was so happy I was there. I was like, oh, my God, this was great. I'm so glad I went in because I would have gone home and just sat around or I would have probably worked on something, but my body wouldn't have been as happy as I was. So everyday heroics is part of what we're talking about. And that's true with your patience and with your children, the grace that's not only affecting them at this time, but also affecting you. It's seizing that daily victory, the bigger, badder, better, more in your everyday life. It's not always about going for the huge pie in the sky thing that you should be going for. But it's those little victories that keep us moving forward. It's that one step at a time, and each step takes us somewhere. I think we have a caller.
We do.
We do have a caller, and I'm going to unmute and say, hello, Sunbug.
Sunbug is here again with the Hot Kings, and I did want to say something about conundrum and grace and heroics and positive affirmation to humans. Get out of the cave, dudes. We live in an age when our car technology tells us to move forward or back up, and the more input we get from that than we do from the people that matter to us. So what the heck is wrong with that? When we are in a human crossroad and we have to ask out loud, which way should I go? Don't go to OnStar or check GPS. That's not the answer. Consider and navigate your own life. Humans didn't come with instruction manuals, but if you ask a computer for directions, this is not right. It is screwed up for the planet. This is the greatest moment of your moment. Life is a varied perception of your own truth. Go live it.
All right.
Wow.
Y'all had a good day today, can you tell? It's been one of those parenting days. So when I was listening to you, I'm telling my kids, go live your life and figure it out, man. I raised you. I given you wings. Go.
Well,
don't ask the car.
Thank you, Sunbug.
Thank you so much for that call. That was very positive and affirming, if you will.
Now, if anybody else wants to call in, please call in at 218-632-1724, and we will happily talk to you. You can weigh in on this topic or just say hi to us. Either way, we appreciate. Thank you very much, Sunbug. And I think I was supposed to just mute you, but I dropped you. So
I muted or you dropped.
Thanks for the positive information. We're done with you now.
But this is like a radio show. You get in, like she did. You get in, you tell your story, and we go on because we've got a lot of stuff to cover. But we definitely appreciate every call and the input that comes in with it.
Absolutely. Now, you said you had another story.
I imagine I got a million of them, but I've talked, I think, most of this show. What about your story, sir?
Oh, what would you want to hear from me? Oh, I'll tell you. I know something here's one of my victories. Yeah, Daddy. I went to, sorry.
Thank you.
They got a little bit of Raphael on that moment, I think. I went to Heroes Con in Charlotte on Saturday and Sunday. It is a comic book convention. The first day I went with two of my Blue Team Tortuga buddies, and then on the second day I went with my buddy EJ and his son. But there's a person, an artist there named Afua Richardson, and Sharon Watson and our friend Mari, both of them said we needed to go and talk to her, that she might be great for the show. And I'm like, well, why? I mean, do you know this woman? They're like, no. She's like a jack of all trades. And I actually went onto her website, and she does inking or not inking. She draws comic book stuff. She does paintings. She does, she sings. She's getting into podcasting a little bit, and I was like, wow, she is kind of, and right there on her website it says a Jane of all trades. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go talk to this woman. She's from New York. She's living in Alabama, and she was in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm like, all right, I'm going to look for her. And, you get a little bit nervous talking to people you don't know. Not always, but sometimes. And of course, I'm all ready for it and ready to talk to her, and I show up, and she's not there. And the little note says, I'll be back soonish. So I was like, oh, I just wanted to do. So I waited around, I hung out, and eventually she shows up, and she's this sweet, fun, goofy lady who was just very, very ingratiating, and I invited her on the show. She basically said yes. She let me do a vlog, so if you're interested in seeing that, you can go to mordantworld.tv, and the latest vlog has Afua Richardson on it, and we're going to have her on our show pretty soon. And that was one of my victories. That was my bigger, better, more moment for that day. And I actually liked that Sunday better because it gave me a reason to be there. So I'm just walking around the con like I did on Saturday. It was like, no, I'm here for a reason. And then I had my reason. And I was still having fun, and it was good. It was good for me. So that was my story.
Why is that a victory? I'm not sure. You meet people all the time. I'm not trying to throw you under. I'm just trying to understand the why of it. You meet people all the time. You find interesting people to talk to. To me, this story, on the surface, so you need to explain to me, help me see the light, Mordant. Well, somebody saying, hey, check this person out, and you did. So what makes this a victory for you? What did you have to overcome to become bigger, better, more here?
Something that people don't understand about entertainer types is that we have this level of shyness to us. I'm naturally a shy person. If I go to a bar and I don't know anybody there, chances are I'm probably not going to talk to too many people, if any at all. I really get nervous when it comes to writers for some reason, or authors. I get kind of tongue-tied and everything. But I seem to be okay talking to anybody else because I have a good friend, Ruth Thompson, who does tarnished images and great artwork that way. I'm kind of comfortable talking to artist types, so it wasn't as bad with her. But I knew she did a lot of other stuff, and she's beginning to blow up a little bit. So there's a little bit of shyness, a little bit of, I hope I don't come off sounding like a dork. But I kept telling myself, fail forward. Just keep doing this. Do this. If you mess it up, you're going to be fine with it. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fun. So it's hard for me sometimes. It wasn't that bad that day. I've had moments where it's a chore for me to do it because I get really bad bouts of shyness. So that was why that was a victory for me, and that it went so well. It also, what was great about that is it taught me, look, if you want to talk to somebody, have somebody on the show, go talk to them. They're happy to talk to you. You're charming. People like you. Go ahead, talk to them. So that's why it was good for me.
Good, because you left that part of the story out, because that's important. Because to me, I see you meeting people all the time. I'm like, what? I don't understand, but I get it now. You were worried. You're a little shy. You're a little quiet, and it mattered to you.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, and so that was my bigger, badder, better, more moment.
Cool. Did you know the first time I ever spoke to you and your brothers at the Ren Fest that I had back in the day, I had an analog tape recorder with me, and I was going to get you to record an opening to my show that I was doing at the time, long time ago before Bear Call. And I was so nervous about it that I bought a hat first, just so you see I spent money at your booth, and maybe you would talk to me.
Do you still have the hat?
Oh, yeah, I'm wearing it right now.
It's awesome.
My favorite hat in the world. But yeah, I was like him in the hall, and my wife's like, I can't believe you're such a big girl about this, because I'm always charging forth and kicking down doors, and I am a very outgoing kind of guy, but it kind of mattered to me, and you guys were celebrities, and it threw me off. And then I talked to you, and you guys, yeah, we'll do it, and you did the recording. I used that on my show for the remainder of the time, which is like maybe 5 more episodes before it gets canceled. Yeah, it was a very nerve-wracking moment. And now it's like, oh, I can meet anybody. I met them. It's cool.
Yeah, it's really weird. I think the Tortugas went to a convention called NatP, which is something to do with filming and TV shows, et cetera, et cetera. We were trying to find a way to get our DVDs out there. And there was a guy, and I can't remember his name. He was a big deal in the OJ trial. And he went on to have a talk show, and he's actually, I saw a little bit of his talk show. Well, Cato, whatever his name is. Cato Kalin?
Yes.
Yeah. And and he was very good. It's at first you're thinking, oh, he's got that because he did that thing and that's why he's there. But then you watched him and you're like, wow, he's good and he's fast. I watched him do stuff live that was very good. And I wanted to give him DVDs. The guys wanted me to give him DVDs. So I went up there and I was kind of nervous about it, and he was on his phone for freaking ever. So I'm standing there like some fanboy feeling like a big dork going, oh, and it was just a chore. Okay, I just want to give you this to you. Okay. And that was my weird stalker moment. And that left a bad taste in my mouth. So it's not always easy. For everybody, we all put on pants and underwear the same way every day unless, you're a little off, but that's okay. We all have off days. And then you just go commando. But we all put our pants on one leg at a time. And if we can remember that, it'll help us get through that. Or if we can remember, it's okay, just fail forward with this, and you'll clean it up later. It's fine. Have fun. And it turned out to be, as you'll see from the video with Afua, it was a great time. I'm so happy I did it, and she's going to be on the show, and she's going to be a riot, dude. I'm telling you, she's awesome. So
it's going to be fun. Now, a lot we've ventured into showbiz talk. That's what we do sometimes. Bringing it back to the everyday man. I've shared it openly, and it doesn't feel right to go into the full details now. But when I started off, my marriage was rough, and to be the bigger, better husband, I had to go through a lot of stuff, and I've learned to back off and let my wife do things on her own. I've learned that not everything I think is bad is truly bad, and I think we all want a happier life, but how do you take steps to get to that? How do you change your life, your everyday patterns to get a happier life when we're surrounded by jobs we don't like and our kids doing stuff we don't like, or worrying about our families, the economy tanking? What do you think? What do we do to start taking those steps to a bigger, better, more everyday life?
For me, it's if you're looking at the big picture, like, we like to do that when we're looking at our dreams and everything. Look at the big picture, then, don't lose sight of that. But for me, if you look at everything that has to be done and you look at the weight of everything that's against you, it's going to be too much. Sometimes you need to Sometimes, this is going to lead into something that we're doing. Charles and I are working on this super secret ninja project. And there's a little bit of writing that needs to be done, and I got like 3 different things I have to work on. And in looking at the huge, the 3 different things, I'm kind of daunted, and I'm dragging my feet on it, and that's not good for the project. It's not good for us. It's certainly not good for me. Today, after having our conversation, it's like, why don't I just break it down and do one thing? I'm just going to do the one section that I have to do, and then on another day I'll do another section instead of I've got to do all 3 and then not move forward with that. So I think that's the same thing with life, is you got to pick your battles, and you got to pick which one you're going to hit first. Don't try to get everything at once. If you're like, I'm having no victories, then choose something. Choose, I think it was, I can't remember who said this, but clean your desk. It's a small victory. And if your desk is so messy that you can't clean it all, clean a section under your desk and promise to keep that section clean. And then the next day, clean another section of your desk and keep those 2 sections clean. And then on the 3rd day, clean the 3rd section and keep those 3 sections clean. But don't look at the whole pile of garbage that you're going to have to move, or the whole thing that you're going to have to deal with, or you're just going to be like, it's too much. It's too much and I can't move forward. So my advice is not just pick your battles, but pick which one you're going to fight first and which section you're going to hit first. It's like when we had, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's like when we had, when you're looking at remember those pieces of art they used to do, and I don't know if they do it anymore. They did it in the 70s and 80s, where you had this big page of artwork. And instead of having to draw the whole thing, they cut it into squares. So they're like, draw this square, and it was a few lines. And now draw this square. Now draw this square. And by the end of the day, you had the whole painting. You had the whole artwork. So that is what you do with that. That is, you take it one thing at a time. Welcome back, caller.
Sorry.
That's okay. So that's what you do with that.
Very cool. And we can talk about the project, but, I had to take little steps. For me, here's the husband. To the husbands out there, wives, if you're hearing this, play this section for your husband, okay? It's 22 minutes before the end. So go to the end, rewind it 22 minutes back. This is for the husbands. You have to learn how your wife hears I love you. I hear I love you by communication, by time. You talking to me about what's important in your life, you talking to me about what's important in my life, and actually caring. So that's what matters to me. But my wife is different. I can say all day long, I love you, baby, whatever. But she likes to see actions. And I had to learn this. I had to learn it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, don't get me wrong. But it doesn't speak as loudly. Let's put it that way. It doesn't speak as loudly that I go out and I make sure the bills are paid. It doesn't speak as loudly that I'll go and buy her something nice and bring it home. And we can get into what nice is. Everybody has their own definition. But I'll buy her something that matters to her. That does not speak nearly as loudly as what I did yesterday. Now, I'm not one for my kids to be out and about doing a ton of stuff all the time. I understand what it means that need your rest. I can see when my kids are tired. My wife has them going to vacation Bible school in the morning and in the evening. And then in the meantime, she's filling it with all kind of other stuff like she needs to do. I mean, stuff that she's like, okay, well, I got them taken care of. Now I got my day to do, and they have to go with me. And I'm like, man, that's a lot. And internally, because I grew up in the church and I had to go to every function the church ever did, I mean, I was always going and doing things, and I hated it. So internally, I go, oh, that's too much. They need sleep. They need rest. But I've learned to back off. If they get cranky, if they get grumpy, she'll agree with me, and we'll put them down.
To bed.
To bed, yes. Oh, yeah, did I leave that off? I'm sorry. But what happened yesterday was they went out to Vacation Bible School, and in the afternoon we had to go to their uncle's house and be there all afternoon. And then my wife changed up the plans because they were going to go to Vacation Bible School that night. I was going to take the baby and come home. Well, then the plans changed up where my wife wanted to go work for her doctor friend. And so now I'm trying to figure out how to take care of the baby and take them to this, and they're not going to get out until 9 p.m. And all this. I'm like, baby, you got to choose. You have to choose. You can't do everything. And I felt bad because I felt that was the right thing to do. But she was upset that she couldn't take the kids to the second VBS. My kids were upset they couldn't go out again, but they were tired. I mean, they almost fell asleep on the way home. So it was the right call, but it was a hard one. Getting back to what bigger, better, more husband in everyday life, to the husbands here, it's not about being right. It's not about giving in, because I was right and I stuck with it. But on the way home, I was like, what can I do to help her out? Because I know she's disappointed. I know she's a little frustrated. I'd like to do something to show that I'm not a complete controlling husband here. And I thought about it, and there's nothing to buy because she didn't want to spend money. It wasn't that. I came home, and there was a ton of laundry that needed to be folded. And she does that. She washes the dishes. She cleans the floor. She does the laundry. And I do a lot of other stuff. We find balances for each other's lives. But I mean, I can do that for her. And me and the kids did it. And we put away all the clothes. So when she came home, she had nothing to do. And she came home ill because other things went on. She got a headache. And I mean, physically ill. She came home. And that made all the difference to her. You got to look for what matters to your wife. You got to look what matters to the people around you. I mean, you'd be surprised at how great, quote unquote, you are when you just pay attention for a second. I mentioned I was kind of half mocking her a little bit, just teasing her. But I mentioned to a woman in the office I used to work in, said, it's Friday. It's been 2 weeks. Isn't it time for you to get your hair did? She thought that was the greatest thing. She said, oh, you noticed. Oh, you're the greatest husband in the world. I bet your wife loves you. You notice I get my hair done. I was like, I was just kind of poking at you just to tease you because I like you. But, hey, I'll take it. I'm the Superman here. You know, that's how you're the everyday hero, right, Mordant?
Yeah, absolutely. And I, as you were beginning this story, I want to point out there's a book called The 5 Love Languages. And wives, I want you to hear this as well. And it's by, I can't remember his first name, but it's by Chapman is his last name. And it might be, I can't remember his first name, but we'll have it in the show notes. And it talks about that everybody has their own love language. For some, it's acts of service. You know, taking out the garbage or doing the dishes or cooking dinner or keeping the house clean or whatever it is. For some, it's physical touch. Some people just like, to be close to each other. For some, it's words of affirmation, saying something sweet to each other. When somebody does something, you praise them for it. I remember doing the dishes for when I was staying with this couple, and every morning they'd come downstairs and go, oh, my God, you're great. Thanks for doing this. It's so awesome that you do this. And I'm like, oh, okay, I want to do it some more, So that's physical touch, that's acts of service, that's words of affirmation. There's gift giving. For some people, there's gift giving. And then there's quality time. So if sometimes the man's like, I'm putting a house over her head, I'm giving her everything she wants, I'm making sure she's fed, I give her all these gifts, and I make sure she's happy, but she thinks I don't love her. And then you talk to the woman, she's like, all I want him to do is spend time with me.
Yeah.
So you've got either gifts or acts of service versus quality time. So you've got to find out what each other's love language is. So you're speaking the same language, so that you're saying I love you, and the other person can say, oh, I understand that, instead of, oh, you're speaking Chinese, I don't know what you're saying.
Now, wouldn't you say the first steps? I would say this. I want to see if you agree. The first steps, if you feel like you're in an unhappy life, that you look around, I'm miserable, and you go, well, if I just made more money, nah, you're going to be miserable. Oh, if I just got a better job. I'm not saying no, but it really, ultimately it starts inside of you, but you can't just go, oh, I'm going to be happy now. It doesn't work. To me, the first steps to a bigger, better, more life in your everyday life is looking how you can make somebody else bigger, better, more. How you can make them happy around you.
Help others be awesome.
Helping others be awesome. And I'm going to leave it to you here, but I don't mean laying down and just doing everything for everybody, because I get on to my wife for that. Like, you do too much. You help too much. You worry too much around this house. I will help some. The kids will help some outside of this house. I mean, there was a time in my life she was cooking for me, and she cut me off for a week from cooking because her family was over demanding on her, and she could take it out on me. And she did it like I was going to be all surprised. Oh, that's it. I'm not cooking for you this week. I went, okay. I can survive, because I knew something else was going on. But I helped, I don't remember the exact things I did. I wish I could tell you the steps I took. But what helped me was, I can't speak right. What helped me help her in this situation was, okay, if I can do that, and I flat out said, fine, don't cook for me. And I didn't do it in a mean way. I said, if that's what helps you deal with this, because obviously you're complaining about them 90% of the time and what's going on over there, if you taking something away from me helps you, then do that. because that's the way I can help you.
Right. I think that knowing your wife, and I might be wrong about this, but I think that her love language is definitely acts of service, at least one of the primaries. Because whenever I'm over there, and she'll even tell me, don't do those dishes. Don't do that. I'll take care of that. I've got your food. And that's just the way she is. And it took me a little while to get comfortable with that. But once I did, it was great because she's such a good cook.
Right.
And it's just like a great big hug from her.
Well, you be hooking up on my wife.
No, I mean, her cooking for me is like giving us a big hug. I'm not hugging your wife. You're a big man.
I know. But she goes so far as to remember what you like and don't like and make things specials for you. And she does that for everybody. Yeah. And that's really cool. Now, you were talking about our Super Secret Ninja project.
Yes,
I think we can end the show with this. This is for us. Yes, it's media. Yes, it's our career project type of thing. But, yeah, it's still a personal level of, I think we're both a little scared. We're both a little nervous. So why don't you start talking about that? And
well, we started by... and I don't know what started it. I think we went through a phase of something or something else happened where we're just like, come on, let's move forward. And I've talked before about throwing your backpack over the wall so that you have to climb the wall to get your backpack back. Otherwise, you won't climb the wall. And it was just one of those days where while I was in Georgia, Blog World in New York was going on. Or about to go on. It's like, you know what? We should try to get into that. And you're like, it's the weekend after this festival. It's only in a couple weeks. I have to get off of work, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, why don't we try? Why don't we try and see what happens? The worst that can happen is they're going to say, thanks, but no thanks. The best that can happen is they say yes, and then we have to worry. What a great problem to have.
True, but I kind of remember it slightly different.
Go ahead. What do you remember?
All right. So... it was leading up to Chaos Week when everybody was coming in. We were getting ready to go to WREK to do our interview. And we were riding together to this interview. No, we were riding together somewhere else before that. No, we went to Jax's dinner. It was the night before. We went to Jax's dinner. And you were like, I listened to Dave Jackson's School of Podcasting, and da-da-da-da-da, and he's going to Blog World. I was like, yeah, I know. Dave's a friend of mine. I know he's going to Blog World. It's all good. Yeah, we should go. I'm like, dude, Blog World's in 14 days. No. That's not professional. That's not. No. Brrr. I'm like, no. And I think part of it was I was afraid to succeed because there are a ton of issues. If they'd said yes, I'm like, dude, it's Chaos Week, and Blog World's right after that. I'm already taking time off.
You'd have to get off. You'd have to get off of work.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take off of work. I'm gonna have to pay for it. I mean, there's a huge mountain of why not to do it. And he went, here goes my backpack. I'm like, fine. I'll go get the backpack.
But it wasn't just that. It was also because things started falling into place. I think you got the time off, or you were able to take you looked at it and you talked to them and if you switched this day and did this, you'd be able to take the time off. And then you're like, well, how are we going to get up there? We're going to drive? I'm like, we can't drive. But I have a friend who can get us buddy passes.
You're right. You did start answering my questions about how you started getting past the negative on it. You did. But I said, fine. I'm thinking the whole time. Now, here's the thing in life. If you are surrounded by people who encourage you and you piss on them, shame on you, okay? Shame on you, because I used to do that all the time. My wife would encourage me to, because I was writing music. My wife encouraged me to sell my songs. So she quit doing it. I've seen it in my brother-in-law's life. One of the best cooks I've ever met in my life, one of the best artists I've ever met in my life, and because instead of encouragement, he got burned, essentially, got poo-pooed on constantly. He doesn't do either very well anymore. I honestly was pooping on you a little bit. I was like, you're crazy. You have this life where you can just get on a plane and you can go anywhere you want, and I live in the real world. Yeah, this is all internal, right? But I said, okay.
On the inside, but on the outside. Right.
I have this great man who is encouraging me, who believes in us and thinks that we deserve to be there and we can do it, and what a great problem it'd be to have. I said, fine, I'll prove you wrong. And I did the email, and we sat together, and I worked it out, and I sent them the email. And the next day, going to WREK for the interview, we got an email back going, well, we're not doing New York City right now. We're all closed because it's starting in they didn't say how many days, but, it's coming up soon. We don't need anybody else, thanks. But would you be willing to go to Vegas? And I went, okay. And I knew, I was like, our Mordant Mom's right, and I got to tell him he's right.
Vegas, baby.
Dang it. I'm never going to be able to stop him again. Can't slow him down. So I asked you, I said, what are you doing in January? You go, I don't know. What am I doing in January? And then it went from there. So I'll let you carry on with the happiness there, sir.
Well, yeah, it's we're not in yet, but they answer your emails really, really fast. They're like, yes, these actually, you'll send us some of your ideas, and I think maybe we had the initial email, we shared some ideas, and they're like, those are really good. Here's how you apply. So we're gonna apply, and you actually contacted them again today because they said by the end of June, and we didn't see anything yet. So you sent your email, and almost immediately, again, they shoot you an email back going, I was just thinking about you. So, we're definitely on their radar.
This is the I don't remember the exact title, like the VP, or it's the director of talent for the whole conference. And, for some reason, he took to me. And I say it that way because I don't want to sound like I'm name dropping or I'm something special, because honestly, I know I deserve to be there. Here's why. Here's another bigger, better, more for your life. When you look at what you want to do and half the people those people are happy in their lives, why aren't I? Those people have great marriages, why don't I? You deserve to be over there with them in the great marriage or the great life. And that's what we did here. We looked at Blog World New York and I went, I know that guy, I know that guy, I know that guy. Holy crap, we do belong here because we work with a number of people who are there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
we didn't let that, and we're like, that wasn't the only thing. It's like, well, we're trying for this. Why don't we just take a hop, skip, and a jump over to this side of the outside the box and shoot for South by Southwest?
I should have seen that one coming.
So we contacted them as well, and they said the same thing. Hey, we do a certain kind of admission, and panel picking, and you give us your ideas, and we'll let the people pick, and whatever gets picked gets to go. But they were very open to us, and so we're applying to Blog World and to South by Southwest. Now, horrifying yet great will be if we get both. And then it'll be like, oh my God.
I mean, it is definitely a 50-50 moment here. Because I'll be flat out honest with the listening audience. I would never have written Blog World. I would have told our dude, if you had not pushed me, if you hadn't pushed me and thrown that backpack over that wall, I would have sat there because I was convinced. I'm like, dude, it's in 2 weeks. And I got all this other stuff. It takes planning. It takes planning for me to move mountains, okay? I can't just move it overnight. And it's not going to work. I never, ever would have written them. Because it's not about the rejection. Quite honestly, I expected email going, no thanks, we're closed for now. Thanks for asking. And then it would never have gone forward. What we got was so much better. What we got was what seems to be somebody higher up in the hierarchy there, liking what we do and how I phrase things and what we say. That's cool, and I feel like I made a new friend, and that's awesome. We never would have gone for South by Southwest, and it's scary because I'm sitting here looking at the calendar, talking to my wife, and I've already got the time off, by the way. I already had the time off for January. I took it off. That happens to be, by the way, both of these screw with my life. Okay? Both of these make me take off time from work, which I lose a lot of money when I do that.
Yeah.
But it's an investment in my future, right? Blog World. Well, it's no longer Blog World. It's NMX, New Media Expo. They revealed the new name this year, but it's New Media Expo, so it's going to be NMX. That's in Vegas on my anniversary. Okay. South by Southwest on my wife's birthday.
Dude.
I know. So I'm not only, but my wife gets it. She gets it, and the only problem is, I told you when I first told her about the whole Blog World thing, she was like, her first thing was, dude, here's how you can do it. You can stay here. We can try to get it. And I'm mad at you. I'm like, I know. She was, because you're going somewhere else in the world that I don't get to go with you, because she likes to travel. And right now it's kind of hard to do it. And I want to say a quick shout out to Steven in the chat room. He put out there he's a Craigslist guru. So I'm like, hey, dude, you can always advertise our show. He's already done it. He's already done a Craigslist ad for our show, putting us out there.
Oh, Stephen, if you would, please put the link on our Facebook page so that we can at least admire that we're being advertised on Craigslist, which sounds odd to me. But okay.
It's scary. Here's what's scary for me, and some people may identify with this and some people won't. But I see the big picture. I see 10 steps ahead. I see the potential of greatness everywhere I go. I can't see past those two conferences. And that scares me.
So what does that mean? Does that mean that you don't see the potential for it? Or what does that mean?
No, that means that every time let's use a No Agenda Stream as an example. I met this guy, and he started talking about No Agenda Show, and this and that and the other. And I started talking to him just to help him be awesome. Helping others be awesome. I'm just investing in him. And sometime early on in that in that relationship, it was 2 or 3 conversations in, he started talking about No Agenda Stream. Like they have a network that they're building, da-da-da. And I said, okay, I just left it be. I didn't even ask to be put on it, but I could see 6 steps ahead. I could see us getting on the stream. I could see where that's going. And it happened. I could see that. So it wasn't a surprise. When it came down and we talked to Gitmo Slave and to Mr. Oils, it wasn't a surprise at all. And I handled it because I belong here. And that's not a cocky thing. That's going, no, number 3. Okay, take notes. I'm preaching tonight, baby. Take some notes and pass the plate. Number 3, bigger, better, more life, is look at where you came from and understand you deserve where you're going. It's not because you're this biggest star in the clouds. You deserve a happy life. You deserve a happy marriage. Communication is a big key. Love languages and real languages. You deserve it. A lot of people sabotage their happiness because some reason they don't believe that they deserve it.
And they don't even try. They don't even try.
Well, that goes into what I was talking about, don't piss on the people who encourage you. Is I did that to my wife. She quit encouraging me in that area. Because it's like, well, why would I encourage you? If all I ever told you is no, I wouldn't be on this show anymore. Because you're not going to have that, right?
No.
That goes into it because the people who say no all the time are the people who don't think they deserve it. You got to look at, that's what helped me. I don't have an ego. I come off like I have an ego. I feel like I come off like I have an ego. But I really, ultimately, deep down there's a voice that goes, you don't deserve all this. And I have to look back at the hard work I put in, the investment I put into people, and realize what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be the biggest podcaster in the world. I'm just trying to make people be awesome, help people be awesome, right. As one of mine says.
Here's the trick, people. You have to find that joy in dancing outside your comfort zone. You have to find enjoyment in failing forward. You have to for me, I make a game out of it. For me, I move forward with that, and I throw the backpack over the wall. I'm like, crap, now I got to go. Now I got to do it, and a lot of times, most of the time, I have a great payoff. Sometimes not. Sometimes it's just like, oh, this didn't work. When I was doing auditions for short films, and I remember it was like 2 or 3 of them, I had to talk myself into going to the auditions. I had to talk myself. I was like, oh, it's across town. It's late. Turn around. I don't want. It's like, you know what? It'll be practice for auditioning. I'll just go. Every time I got that part, or I got a part at least. And I almost didn't go. If I had not gone to the Comic-Con that second day and hunted down Afua Richardson, we wouldn't have the great interview that we're going to have, I don't know, sometime soon. If we never contacted Blog World, we wouldn't have all this fun. If we didn't try to and tell our listeners that we wanted to be nominated for the podcast awards, we wouldn't have been nominated. And we were. We had no business being there. It's our first year doing The Other Side of Live. We weren't even in it for a full year. But apparently enough people jumped in, and the people who were running it thought enough of our show that we were nominated for one of the categories.
Right.
But you got to try. Go ahead.
Yeah. Dude, I don't even know where to start. There's so many things to dive in there. It's
well, let's get back to bigger, better, more in your everyday life, because let's tie it all together. We're getting close to the end.
Yeah, to finish the story, doing all this prepared us. I'm going to be doing a con. I'm going to be doing a party in August with Alex, the movie guy from Stoneford Center, and I was prepared because of all the work we're putting into Blog World. When they go, we need this, we need that, I'm like, oh, here you go. It's all ready to go. And I'm going to be doing a podcast panel there, and that's going to be awesome. So preparing for the bigger makes you ready for now.
Yeah.
But to finish up my story about not seeing past the conference, no, I can see the potential. I can see us blowing up the world, with this. What I can't see is I don't see, well, yeah, this is the likely outcome. This is the 6 paths that you can take throughout this. It could be just fun. I can't see any of that. But I got to tell you, it's like it's the adventure out there. Not knowing is scary, but finding out is exciting and fun, and that's what the ride's all about.
Right. And you're gonna make your mistakes along the way. And as you're starting out, that's when you're supposed to make your mistakes. Because once you learn those things, then as you get to be a bigger deal, as you and Jabba the Hutt agrees with me. As you move forward, then you're like, oh, I know how to do that because I made those mistakes when I was just starting out. This is where we're supposed to mess up. And then as you get to be a bigger deal, you'll be making those other different kinds of mistakes. You're going to have bigger problems. And you want to have bigger problems because it means that you're a big deal and you're playing in a bigger playground. But right now we're talking about bigger, badder, better, more in your everyday life. If the big picture is freaking you out, if it's too much for you, seize that small victory. I mean, even though that we're moving towards Blog World and South by Southwest and all those other things, I still have stuff in my life that I have to deal with, and I talk to you about that. So you can see the duality of that. So that you can see, even though I'm sharing motivational stuff with the world here, I still have my own issues that I still am working through. And it's okay. It's all right. It doesn't mean I don't deserve to be here. It doesn't mean I don't get to try for the big pie in the sky Blog World thing. Absolutely not. I'm going to take all my mistakes, all my humanity with me, and I'm going to share it with the world and go, look, I'm still making mistakes, and yet I can do this. And by God, if I can do this, so can you. So I dare you to try. Throw your backpack over the wall and go for something that scares you a little bit, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Do it.
Do something. Do something. But better yet, surround yourself with people who do stuff.
Yeah,
because I would still be a know-nothing little podcaster if it weren't for our Morning Mind doing something. So it's not always about your actions, but if you can be smart enough to be around somebody who is doing something or help you do what you do, that's where the roller coaster ride comes in. Because it has been a roller coaster ride with you and a good one.
Yeah, I'm the same for me too. I would be a know-nothing Tortuga if it wasn't for you. But now I'm beginning to, I'm stretching a little bit beyond the Renaissance Festival circuit and that group. I mean, I still have that, and it's still very, very near and dear to me, and still kind of a big deal in my heart. But I want to touch the world. I want to reach out, and bigger, better, better, more, baby.
Show me on the world where our Mordant Mon touched you.
Oh, that's kind of funny and creepy.
I'm sorry. Well, if you like funny and creepy, you can check me out every morning. Chaos and Coffee, like Sunbug does. She comes in the mornings and listens. Chaos and Coffee, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern. It is a wake-up morning show. I'll give you something to talk about. I'm funny. I'm fast. I'm drinking my coffee, and we talk about the headlines that make me go, or at least laugh. So that's on No Agenda Stream. You can find out on bearcrawling.com.
Now, tonight I talked a little bit about or Charles brought up a little bit about our interview on Georgia Tech's WREK's Tech Talk. And you can find that interview if you go to facebook.com/BCN Tosol, or you can also find it on mordantworld.com. I posted it as one of my blogs, so you can find it there as well. So those of you who are listening to us live, you can find us at theothersideoflive.com and listen to our old shows, or we're also available on iTunes. Those of you who are listening to the podcast, we are live every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can go to mordantworld.com/NAS, and of course the NAS stands for No Agenda Stream.
And everything else that I do can be found on bearcrawling.com, houseofthebear.com. And I do 2 other shows, a live head-to-head show where I do discussions with one guest at a time, and we really get deep and have fun. And another, of course, like I said, is Chaos and Coffee. BCN Tosol on Facebook, and Bear Crawling Nation on Facebook as well. Find all the stuff.
If you listen to these podcasts, you'll hear that I mention a lot of books. If you want to find my Mordant reading list, I have that list on Pinterest.com/MordantWorld. And look for the Mordant reading list right there.
You should look at real quick. You should look at Goodreads.com, but we'll come back to that later. We're out of time, so why don't you take us home?
This has been our Mordant Mon
and the Do Something Bear. Wait. And the bigger, better, bearer, more. I don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that was unbearable. Ciao, dream catchers.
So raise your glass.
That's awesome. Boom, Betty. Oh.